What's up? It's been a while. It's a Miz in the midday. Let's talk about it. The New York Giants have the #1 pick in the draft. Now, there's a couple of things I'd like to touch on. Number one, I take a look at these guys' faces for weeks now. I take this back to the week that they let go of Daniel Jones. Which, by the way, I gotta say, man, clearly ain't the same team since Jones left. But that don't matter. Truth be told, anybody that can't see that this is a full-blown tank, and I'm not saying the Giants are not a bad team, because the Giants are a pretty damn bad team, but a lot of the starters aren't on the field anymore. A lot of injuries have occurred, right? Look, I'm a believer that a lot of these injuries aren't real. I'm a believer when you look at the faces, and I'm talking about all three faces, Daboll, Schoen, Mara. There's a lot of acting going on. This regime has turned into star-studded actors. The Giants are fully tanking. And when Daboll throws these little fake tantrums, go compare them to the tantrums in year one and last year. Not even close. He'll get angry, throw a fist, and suddenly a second later he's calm. Press conferences are the same answers over and over. Very calm, not angry like he was getting early in the season. Brothers, anybody that cannot see that this is a full tank, and that, believe me, Mara, Schoen, Daboll, they're all in on it together. John Mara knows all about it. That's why yesterday when they showed him up in the booth, he turned around and said, "Why are they showing me?" Right? He doesn't want to be shown because it is embarrassing. But don't think for a second that Mara doesn't know. That Joe Schoen didn't go and have this talk with Mara many, many weeks ago. How come the Giants keep putting out this garbage Drew Lock, who to me doesn't even belong in the NFL? Because that's exactly who they want out there. And he didn't even think, Daboll didn't even think of pulling him out at any point in the game, as horrible as he looked. How come the Giants can look good for the first 2 drives of a game, but then don't play football at all the rest of the game? Why does the playbook only have handoffs and screen passes and 4-yard turnarounds to neighbors? Think about all this. How come you don't ever see neighbors on a fly deep route, a 40, 50-yard bomb? Because it's possible he could catch that and he'll be gone. Smoke to the end zone, right? Daboll doesn't want that. He don't even take shots down the field. At all. Right? And now Lock's hurt. He's going for an MRI. How come he keeps switching back and forth between DeVito, Lock, Boyle, Lock? Why does he keep playing a merry-go-round every week? To make sure no continuity and nothing real happens. Nothing real is going to happen with these 3 clown quarterbacks anyway. The Giants have achieved what they wanted. They have the first pick in the draft. And all this stuff leads me to believe that Daboll and Schoen and Mara are all in on it, but they can never let the league know that, and they can never, ever make the Giants fans or the media or anyone in the league think that the Giants could do something like this, because they've never done anything like this in their history. A full-blown tank. Rock-bottom tank. Don't put it over them, brothers. Believe me, Mara knows about it. And if Mara knows about it, it'll be proven on the last Sunday of the year, when Mara brings these guys back. When he brings them back, you know there was a full-blown inside green light for a tank. and that these guys are gonna get their guy. But the one problem with that, and I'm okay with that. I'm cool with all this was done on purpose, and it'll all be solidified if they're all brought back after the season, right? But here comes the problem on the other side. You allow Joe Schoen and Daboll to go get their quarterback. But now they're only drafting any quarterback because that's all they got left to do to hang on to their job. And then it buys them 2 to 3 more years, probably 3 more years. So by them getting to choose their quarterback, you can't fire them if it's a miserable year next year. You got to allow them a couple of years to develop the kid. So they just bought themselves a 3-year contract. Now that could be a good thing if the team grows, and that could be a bad thing. My concern is not even Daboll, because I think Daboll is not coaching this year because he's been told not to after like week 7 or week 6. I think he's a fine coach. I think he could do a good job, despite what some people think about his past. And then you hear a lot of players and ex-coaches around the league say that he's a really great coach. And I think you saw a lot of that in year 1. Some people want to take it away from him. You can't. Just like you want to pin this year on him. And I think it's more of the upstairs. But okay, he's involved. But there could have been a purpose to this, like I'm saying. You want to put it on him for bad year? Go ahead. Same way you put it on him, you can't take away Coach of the Year 2 years ago with a horrible roster outside of Barkley. Joe Schoen's made a lot of mistakes as a GM. I believe there's good things to him. There's bad things to him. Brothers made a mistake. He made a mistake paying Jones. He made a mistake letting Barkley go. And I was someone who thought maybe it was time to move on from Barkley, but I was wrong. Man goes down to Philly. Now, imagine if Philly walks into the Super Bowl with Barkley this year, bro. Man, you could say whatever you want. You can. There's no pretty picture painted for the Giants. And Mara, he's eating his guts up inside. But yo, I got no problem if you want to bring them back. But I got a problem if you're going to force the quarterback and the wrong quarterback, because it could set us back another 5 to 10 years. And we ain't got no more time. And I don't have a problem if Mara decides at the end of the year it's time to move on from both and go get a new GM, which I think he's in the building. You could promote Brandon Brown and then start giving out interviews. I've been loud and clear that Flores is a guy I would want the Giants to interview right up front. They try to reach out to Vrabel, okay? And I would not even be opposed to going outside the box and calling Deion Sanders if you're going to draft his son. Now, here's my thing personally. The Giants need more of a roster. I am not a Ward fan. I see red flags. I don't like it. And I'm not looking for a playground quarterback. Shedeur Sanders fits more the Giants' bill. Pocket passer, NFL style. I like what he brings. But I gotta be brutally honest. There ain't a quarterback in this draft that strikes me as must have and going to turn our franchise around. I'm a little worried about that. Shedeur might be able to. He might not. It ain't no lock. And that's what scares me here. Of all years to get the number 1 pick, this is not the best draft to have that number 1 pick, man. Last year, you had Drake May, Jaden Daniels. Everyone knows I was not a fan of Caleb. Not because I didn't think he's a good player. It's because I didn't think he would work out in such a pressure-cooking city like New York with that media. Some people are not made for that, and I'm a personal believer he ain't made for it. Now, he might be good in Chicago if they get the right coach. I still think he's a talent. We'll see. It's been very pedestrian this year. But he's a rookie. Okay? Drake May was a guy I loved. He's playing with no roster in New England, and he's showing some signs. He shows good stuff. You know he's going to get better on a better team. I thought he would have been perfect for the Giants. Next year's draft, Nelson Meyer was going to be in this draft. I was a big fan of his. He's going to be in next year's draft. Archie Manning might be in next year's draft. You got the kid out of Texas. There's going to be some real deal quarterbacks in next year's draft. Now, I know telling people to kick the can down the road one more year is like impossible to hear. Why? Because we are a desperate organization. And this is what I'm scared of. Joe Schoen's going to be allowed to go pick a quarterback out of desperation just to give him 3 more years of at his position. And that's the wrong way to draft. Completely the wrong way. Personally, I know people aren't a fan of this. Dude, it's even hard for me to do this, but sometimes you got to do the hard thing. I'd trade out of the number 1 pick to some team like the Browns, the Saints, the Raiders, who wants to come up badly to get one of these 2 quarterbacks, right? Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. I get me 2 ones. One of those 2 ones is next year's one, so you set yourself up next year with 2 ones to come up and get the young quarterback that you want. You get 2 twos, throw in a 4 somewhere, I guess. Whatever it is, hustle 5, 6 picks out of somebody, let's say, and build a roster. Left tackle, go get that running back from Boise State. 2nd round, a top corner, a defensive tackle. If the tight end from Penn State is around with one of these picks, grab him. Build yourself a New York Football Giants team again. And you got 65 million free agency. Go get a top corner. Go after a wide receiver like Metcalf or maybe a Higgins. Depends on the money. Maybe the kid Wilson wants out of the Jets. Wants to stay in New York, come across town. Let's build this, brothers. Let's build this. And of course, I get a veteran quarterback. And I would love to have a Kirk Cousins here for 1 to 2 years. I don't believe he's done it all. He's been injured on the Achilles all year. Let him freshen up in the offseason, get healthy, hit the gym. Bring him to New York for 2 years. Give him $25 million a year. That's a bargain price for a Kirk Cousins. Another guy out there is Jameis Winston. Come hold the fort down for 1 year. Go get 1, maybe even 2 guys. None of these quarterbacks on the Giants should be on the Giants as soon as this season's over. Clean the quarterback room. It's infected. It's a disease. Okay? Kirk Cousins. Winston. You can find some guys, man. You can find some guys. Some people are going to call out Aaron Rodgers. He might be leaving the Jets. I don't know. I don't like his ways and his personality. He hasn't shown me that he's changed. First of all, show me the gym, brother. Stop hanging out in caves in the off season. Go to the gym and work your ass off and build your body back up if you want to come back and have a bounce back year. But this is the route I would go. And if you really needed a QB badly in the draft, and if you could trade back and get 5 picks, you could take a Milroe or a Dart later on in the 1st round, or an early 2nd, or climb back into the middle of 1st. Just do things. That's what the GM's supposed to do. Get creative. If we drafted Shedeur Sanders, I would be very happy. So don't get me wrong. I'm just giving you a scenario in which I would take, which is the harder scenario, the tougher road. And I've learned in life, always take the tougher road. It'll make you better. We're facing adversity right now. This next GM, if it's Joe Schoen or whoever's making this draft, this is going to be one of the biggest drafts in Giants history. This is the draft that turns the corner. And for me, this team needs more. We got some talented pieces, but we need more in certain places. I drop back a couple of spots and get yourself a haul, a bag. Set up 2 ones for next year. Because that class of quarterbacks, to me, is looking pretty damn strong. Now, there's some good quarterbacks in this draft, but to me, they're wild cards. It's what we're going to make of them. If you told me I'm taking a quarterback at 1 this year, you have to take a quarterback, it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. That's my personal pick. Because he's more of a fit, and he looks hungry to come to New York and play with neighbors. That was my thought on what's coming down the road. I'm excited. Let's get through 2 more games, and I'm a little worried about the Eagles game because they would lay down and try to bang us. They've done this to us before. Just keep running the ball up the middle, Dable, and throwing neighbors 3-yard passes. Just keep doing that. The number 1 pick in the draft leaves us with a couple of major options. And I want those options. I'm the Miz. This was the Miz in the midday.